Hey, what's up? Welcome to Dave's Digest. Today we are talking about life. I have been on a work sabbatical for the year of 2025, which has given me plenty of time to reflect, read books, think. I'm 41. I've had a 20-year career in commercial real estate, primarily in the apartment industry, buying, selling, raising money for multifamily communities, but I've taken this year off and reading a lot of books. And one of the books, several of the books that I've read have forced me to think about the legacy that I want to leave to my family. I've got 3 young kids, and I started to consider this year about what I would want them to know if I wasn't around to teach them. We're all going to die, and I thought, man, if I died tomorrow, what kind of legacy would I want to leave? And I came up in my mind with a framework of how I think I've built, along with my wife, to be a very fulfilling and successful life. And I came up with the 5 M's for me. This is how I prioritize things in my life. I've been inspired by several books, which I'm going to talk about here. One of which is a book called Taking Stock. Shout out Doc G. This is a hospice doctor's words of wisdom on what he learned from the dying, and he throws in some financial advice as well. I was inspired by this book. Was also inspired by a book called The Simple Path to Wealth. J.L. Collins, he was originally intending to teach his daughter about investing, and she did not want to hear it. So he wrote a blog post for her, and then eventually was encouraged by some family members to turn those blog posts into a book. That book has been very successful. I'm not planning to write a book right now, but I am planning to do some YouTube videos and talk about my 5M framework. The metaphor I'd like to start off with is the rock metaphor, which maybe you've heard of, but it's basically pretend you have a cylinder and there you have rocks, you have pebbles, sand, and water, which reflect your priorities in life. The rocks are the big things, and then you got all the way down to the insignificant things, and the order in which you place them in your bucket makes a difference. If you put water in first and then sand and then pebbles and then the big rocks, they're not going to fit. But if you put the big rocks in first, and then you let the pebbles filter down, and then you let the sand filter down, and then you fill it up with water, lo and behold, it all fits in. My point is, my 5M framework is what I would tell my kids are the big rocks in your life. So let's get into the 5 M's. Let me remember, because I forgot last time I recorded this trial video to record my iPad. So I'm going to write down the 5 M's for you. All right. The 5 M's. Number 1 is mindset. Jiminy Christmas. You got to take care of your mind. We're born in this world with nothing but our mind and body, and we'll leave the same way. At the end of the day, you only have this body and this mind, and in some cases you lose faculties of your body, and you're left with your mind. So while you have time, you have to take care of yourself. I think about when you're on a plane and they tell you in a case of emergency, put your mask on first before you help others around you. If you don't take care of your mindset, if your mental health, and you can't help yourself and you can't help those around you. One of the ways that I've been working on myself this year was reading and learning about a few things. One are the tricks that your mind plays on you, and how it destroys your perception of happiness. There's a great book called Stumbling on Happiness that talks about how we're really bad sometimes at knowing what will make us happy and what won't make us happy. That one's a good book. But more than that is this little book called A Guide to the Good Life. This is basically an introduction to Stoicism, which is an ancient Greek philosophy. And one of the main tenets of Stoicism is to not worry about the things you can't control and understand the difference between what you can control and what you can't. And to not let external things affect your direction in life, which is something I often tell my kids. I kind of say it in a little different way. I say, don't be a victim. And by not being a victim, I'm not meaning in a very acute sense if you are a victim of violence or something. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a general victim mentality of not taking responsibility or accountability for your own actions and blaming others for the bad things that happen in your life. I feel like that doesn't do you any good. So you need to be taking responsibility, be positive, worry about the things you can control. But first and foremost, and these are in order of importance, at least in my mind, number one M is mindset. Number two, similar, muscle. Muscle meaning taking care of your body, your temple. Everyone, I don't know, maybe I think most people have experienced a time in their life when they didn't feel great. And not because of an illness, but maybe because you haven't been making good choices in life. Maybe you have a big weekend where you're drinking a lot and you're partying, and then you're dragging on Monday, so you over caffeinate, and then you get exhausted at work, and then you come home and maybe you have a glass or two of wine or a glass of bourbon, and then guess what? Your sleep is affected and you wake up dragging and you over caffeinate. You can see that downward spiral. It's no fun. The opposite is true. You can compound positive behaviors, and then you can feel great and wake up great. And so I'm very passionate about physical and mental wellness, and do anticipate doing a lot of videos dedicated to how to stay fit, especially as you get older, as you get a career and you have to balance life and all these priorities, all these M's. Muscle is important, and these are the first two in my mind, mindset and muscle. That's all you got, your body. There's a quote that says, a healthy man wants 1,000 things, but a sick man only wants but one, right? Don't do everything you can, genetics excluded, to take care of yourself. Number three, big one, meaning. Whew, this one's tough, but essentially you need to know why you're on this planet. The book that comes to my mind is called Build the Life You Want by Arthur Brooks. It was also, I think Oprah Winfrey helped write it. But this is more, Arthur is a Christian, but this is kind of a secular book on finding meaning. I think if you are religious, meaning is a little bit easier because you've got that figured out from a cosmic sense. But my videos, I hope, appeal to anyone from any walk of life. And so therefore, if you're not religious, finding out meaning and what lights you up is a worthwhile endeavor. Also in Build the Life You Want, he asks two questions, which is, why are you alive? And for what would you die for right now? And those are two questions that he asks everybody to try to get out your understanding of what your meaning is. I also think it can change through different phases of life. So what's really important to you right now might not be exactly what you think in 10 years, but I think it's important to understand what's motivating you right now, and a greater sense of meaning on why we're on this planet for a very finite amount of time. Number four, and this is a little tricky because I had to kind of force an M in here, but I'm going to go with mates. Mates. We are social creatures, and I think we evolved to be social creatures. And one of the best books I've read recently, it's a thick book, but it's called Sapiens by Yuval Harari. And it's kind of very interesting to listen to how, at least his theory is, we evolve as social creatures. And when I say mates, I'm not just meaning romantic partners. I mean your relationship with others, whether it's your parents, your spouse, your kids, siblings, friends, the world. None of these M's are fulfilling in and of themselves if you don't have a good balance of others. So if you're jacked with a positive mindset and you got your meaning all figured out, but you have no one to share it with, you're not going to live a life of being fulfilled. So having a pulse on how your relationships are doing is the fourth M for me on finding a fulfillment in your life. Number five, last but not least, because I actually really enjoy this topic, is money. Obviously, everyone needs money. I think the love of money and the pursuit of money just for money's sake is a fruitless endeavor. Two books that come to mind. One is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This is an excellent book on money. And then I was an early adopter on Dave Ramsey and in terms of how to do basic budgeting. But whether or not you are living paycheck to paycheck or you're managing a $100 million portfolio for your wealthy family, I think it's very important that you know how your money is working for you, how much is coming in, how much is going out, what it's invested in. I love teaching about personal finance, stocks, bonds, budgeting. I've got a lot of pieces of software that help keep me organized on that front. And in terms of leaving a legacy to your loved ones, I think it's super important. And I've also been really interested in the FIRE movement, Financial Independence, Retire Early. Would love to talk about that in the videos. But in conclusion, I didn't want to be a super long video. I just wanted to give you an introduction to my 5 M's on how I've tried to build a balanced, fulfilled life. I typically like to grade these. How are you doing on these? Are you a B- on mindset? Are you an A+ on muscle? If you got an F anywhere in here, I think you're going to suffer and feel maybe out of whack, out of balance. So anyway, these are what keeps me grounded and always coming back to a foundation, a framework of how to build a life that is filling. So if you stuck around to the end, thank you very much. Thanks for attending Dave's Digest seminar on his 5 M's. I will see you in the next video. Peace.